The Executive Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, discussed extensively plans for Lagos State in 2025 with TVC News. Here is a highlight from the news interview.
Very well. We've just been talking about all of the things happening in Lagos and how you have been ensuring the transformation that you have promised for Lagos State so far. And we've been having that conversation with your namesake, because he had a conversation with you sometime last year. And so he was feeding us of some of those things that you discussed at that point. But let's begin with you now that you're here. So let's hear from you directly.
Well, thank you very much. And I want to say Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you very much for having me. You've got a wonderful space here, I must say.
Absolutely. Thank you.
This is the real Lagos. You know, you've probably just shown, you know, that there's possibility if you put your mind to it. You know, coming into your own premises here this morning.
And then you walk straight onto the set.
It speaks volumes. It speaks, you know, what the new Lagos looks like, what 2025 now also will look like. You know, so it seems to me that TVC is in tandem with Lagos State, because it's our own aspiration. It's really for us to use all of the learnings and all of the issues of 2024, right, to shape our 2025, you know, in governance, in how we prepare, you know, for the citizens, in how we give them opportunity, in how we're able to use the toughness, you know, of 2024, you know, the resilience, the very hard economic, you know, reality that we needed to face as a nation, as a subnational, right? But to be able to transit it properly, you know, into the new year and be able to tap into the benefit of it. And what do I mean? I'm sure you'll be talking about all of the things that happened, you know, last year towards the end of it, all of the activity, Lagos being economic, you know, capital of the country, which we know, but more now being the entertainment, you know, capital, clearly shows that it's the diasporan population, not only from Nigeria, but the whole of, sub-Saharan Africa.
And that's a fine place to begin this conversation.
Thank you.
Talking about, we know the lingo, Dirty December, as it is. Last year, we saw a lot of persons, the inflow of traffic, especially those we call IJGB, those who just returned, and how they said they had fun in Lagos, as against some other states that we used to know. So we're looking at how the state intends to harness these opportunities to ensure that it boosts the internally generated revenue moving forward, since we are learning from what has happened from previous years.
Well, yes, you're right. So for us, it's really not about just the revenue. It's about the social economic development that it will bring about the citizen. It's for us to be able to calendarize, and for everybody, when I say everybody, both the local population, the diaspora population, international audience, to be able to plan, predict, and be able to say to themselves that from October, these are the calendarized event activity that will be happening in Lagos, Nigeria. In November, these are the activities that I'm interested in fashion, in arts, in creative industry, in digital economy, in book fair, you know, in regattas, in masquerade events. Then you see the entertainment shows and rest of it, you know, so that people now will plan, right? Once you have it properly planned out, then people can make, you know, all of their travel arrangements, they can make all of their booking arrangements. Then we also need to now stimulate that with investment. How well do we get the private sector to make more investment into real estate, especially into the hospitality business? You know, more restaurants, more hotel accommodation, more B&B, you know, conversions to accommodate. How well also do we now prepare the city for security, for safety, for public transportation, you know, for us to be able to have a seamless movement of people in and out of it. When we do all of that, what you will see, which happens in other parts of the world, is that you can have an economy that will be on for 6 weeks, and that economy will keep that company for the next 12 months. What do I mean? There are parts of the world where during summer, they open for 3 months, for 2 months, and the proceeds, the sales they make during that time is enough for the next 9 months. Those are the kind of things that we can, so that it will generate a lot more, you know, employment. You could get 50 to 100,000 new employees that they would have, you know, a sustainable means for 2-3 months, and it will be sufficiently, grounded enough to keep them for another 6-8 months, and that's the kind of, jigsaw that we need to put together. We don't know it all, so what we're thinking through is this month we'll be setting up different levels of committee with the private sector, with government agencies, with operators, professionals in all of the verticals that I've mentioned, and we all develop a calendarized work plan that we all identify who does what, who increases what, and where does government feed into all of it. Ours is to be an enabler. Ours is to be able to provide the opportunity for the private sector to thrive, to grow, to do their businesses. We just want to create that enabling environment and push back. And that's the plan that we have.
So let's talk about the primacy of revenue from taxation. Lagos has shown that there is tremendous opportunity in that area. And even during the First Republic, the action group government of Obafemi Awolowo made a lot of money, not just from cash crops, but from taxation.
Yeah.
We are hearing now that the tax reform bill, the governors do not want that tax reform bill to see the light of the day. And we just read today that governors actually didn't agree to meet the tax committee. What is the state of things with regards to the tax reform bill from the viewpoint of you governors?
Well, I mean, that's not a completely correct situation. The first issue was that a lot of my colleagues, rightly so, were not fully aware to the extent of what that reform, will be the tax bill. Yeah. But in the last couple of months, everybody has schooled themselves. Everybody has taken time to understand, to digest, to get expert advice, on it. And I want to state to you, clearly looking at stating it, a lot of the governors are now convinced. People have been educated. We've seen that it's an opportunity for us to have revenue, a lot more revenue, be able to track, and trap where, defaulters are, and be able to bring everybody on board. So you will see increase in revenue across, the entire 3 tiers of government, at the federal, the subnational, and there will be, and that's the kind of thing we'll see, and there will be a fairer distribution, of it, where equity will also come to bear. But we'll also be aware of even areas where they're not as economically viable, and I think these are some of the things, right, that the bill is. I have taken time to listen, to read, to be schooled, to be educated, and I think that's what has happened to a lot of us, So I will not say that the governors are not. Initially it was hit on everyone. It was a lot for people to digest at once, right. But a lot of people have taken time to understand it, and I believe that a significant number of us are completely, bought into it. We believe that these reforms are important. We believe that at the end of the day, it will be a win-win for everybody. It was first asserted that Lagos State was going to get everything, which is not true. In fact, at the beginning of it, Lagos State even gets a headquarters. Right. But over time, once you're able to track and trap and have a better, enhancement in terms of how the penetration is, everybody by extension, get something better. And what we should all now be striving for is that how well do we now transform that into improving the life of our people? Absolutely. How do we transform that?
I want to hear from you, having read the bill. Yeah. Is there anything, just tell us now, as a whole Nigerian, is there anything that suggests that is anti-not, for example? Because that's the argument.
No, but so like I said, we shouldn't put emotion, to things. There could be 1 or 2 language or suggestion that reflect that, but if you truly, really deep dive into it, there's nothing like that. I believe, and quite frankly, that it is a national, plan. It will be fair to everybody, right? Initially, everything that is new, there will be skepticism, there will be some issue around. We're not sure, that will it be fair to us? But I believe those are the intentions. I mean, let's see what has happened in the course of 2024. Today, foreign currency is wrapping up. I heard that yesterday people were actually buying money at less than 1,500. You know, things are beginning to double up. You know, you're beginning to see some bit of stability, right? So, like I keep saying, that benefit, you know, we should be able to push it down to our citizens. We should be able to push it down to the social economic benefit of our people, right? And it's not a time where anybody can give up now. We've sort of like built up enough so that the benefit that we accrue, we all need to be strategically positioned, you know, so that we can take, you know, driving even in here now, I've seen a lot of opportunity even in the real estate space, you know. So we've talked about the opportunity. Our currency was able to attract a lot more people, you know, because it will seem to them, right, they're bringing $1,000 and the excessive is a lot more naira. But hey, the naira is here, the dollar is here. You can't take it anywhere again. And that's the benefit of it. You know?
And
so what you think you've lost on one, you get a full benefit of it.
Interesting. And talking about making Lagos State a better place for Lagosians, let me just put it that way, because we have a lot of people who are looking forward to coming to Lagos. Others are saying, if I don't get to Lagos, I will never make it. But some of these people do not have, you know, shelter over their heads. You know, they're finding it very difficult. So while we are talking about urbanization, transportation, and some of those things, making Lagos to look like, yes, this is the heaven on earth. What are you doing to houses, you know, for instance, because we have the issue of caretakers, so are making it very difficult for people to.
So first is Lagos is not heaven on earth. We can only just continue to. So we cannot just open the doors endlessly. Yes. And if you don't plan, you are planning to fail.
Absolutely.
You know? So we need to be able to, you know, have an idea of what we're planning against, of what we're planning for, right? So I'm not going to be reckless and say that everybody and anybody, no. But we understand we have, you know, a federated system in which there's freedom of movement and opportunity. Our role is for us to be able to ensure that whatever it is that has worked well in Lagos, we're willing to share some of these experiences with other subnational, so that all of us will have an organic development. You know, it's not about us again. It's about ensuring that environment and development is even. I mean, the president was in Enugu the other day, and I'm sure the governor, you know, is doing a tremendous job. And similarly, other governors right around the nation. There's several of my colleagues, right, that are doing, you know, interesting job, you know, in their own. So part of the things that we need to have is for us to have that conversation, to be able to sell to our people that be patient, you know. If it hasn't gotten to you in your state, be sure that your governor is doing something. But for us in Lagos is to continue to make that opportunity available for anybody that wants to come and do real, genuine business in this space, be able to provide that enabling environment for businesses to thrive, to do well, and to work. You talked about housing. In our own government, for example, we've commissioned and we handed over about 27 housing estates already. With over some as low as 100 units, some has 500 units. But we cannot deliver it all alone. So that's why it has to be us, with private sector working, you know, and be able to develop, you know, a mix of housing for upper middle income, lower middle income, and what we say that the lowest of the. I'm trying not to say that everything is for the masses, you know, that we shouldn't use the word, because housing is a very delicate thing that you cannot provide a substandard cement for anybody. You cannot provide a substandard iron rod for anybody. You cannot provide a substandard, you know, block for anybody. It still has to be the same mix, you know, the same quantity, the same quality, so that you don't have a building collapse on your head. So I don't want us to use and make it look as if there's an inferior cement to another one. It has to be, you know, houses that we're building that will mix the shelter needs of everyone. Finishing can be different in terms of what kind of quality of high-end finishing, but the basic requirement must meet in standard at all times. That's what we're about. And we're working with several, you know, private sector organizations to be able to provide.
Mr. Governor,
yes.
Let's talk about the Fourth Mainland Bridge. Is there light at the end of the tunnel? What's going on?
Jide, so there are different ways you can skin a cat. You know, we've looked at the financial sustainability of Lagos. Yes. Any development you want to do at that scale, right, and you're a subnational, right, you need to be able to look at your sustainability ratios. Right. Everybody that has raised funding to help us develop that, that's a $2 billion project. They are asking for sovereign guarantee. They are asking for you to get, a commitment from the central government, right? We're not the central government, so we've not been able to push that, because that would mean you need to go to FAIR, you need to go to the National Assembly, you need to, ask for this, and so it's a difficult line for us to go to. So what we're doing is we're being very creative. Can we dimension that project in a consumable manner for us? What are the heavy lifting that we need to do? So if you go to around the Abraham Adesoya Junction, which is where it's supposed to be landing, there's a lot of improvement that is happening in that whole place, preparatory to when we eventually do plan for it. There's a lot of junction improvement. There's a lot of opening up that we're doing in that whole space. Part of the things that we're looking at is how far down can we get a sustainable funding model that can still help Lagos be able to plan. With the currency movement, right, our debt profile, we need to be careful, we need to look at it, and we need to be able to, carry on numbers that can keep us sustainable. And in similar ways, we still need to do roads, do schools, do hospitals,
do rail transport.
But what is the solution that we're doing? Right now, as we speak, we're building a bridge called the Omo Creek Bridge, which will move some movement from the Lekki-Epe Expressway. It will go into an island, which will open up that island. That's one. The second point is we're also building the regional road. The regional road will take you from VGC all the way to Freedom Road. And the third one is that plan we're doing what we call a Lagoon Highway.
Right.
A Lagoon Highway will take all of the traffic from the waterfront, from all the way from the end of VGC, will take you all the way to Ilubri. So all of that model is working, and that's part of the plans that we have.
All right.
So we're not folding our hands and not doing anything.
Okay.
So those are some of the things.
The state government has been creative about it. I like that. Now, recently the president spoke about how critical the subnationals were to national development across the country. And two questions in one that I will be asking you is the matter of food security, what Lagos State government is doing with regards to that. And then the other question is how the state government is working hand in glove with the national to ensure this matter of local government autonomy.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. These are clearly, conversations that it's ongoing, and we're very intentional about it. Regarding the food security, I'm happy to let you know that Lagos State has taken the bull by the horn. We're building what we consider as the largest food logistics hub in the whole of Sub-Saharan Africa.
Really?
You've heard of it? Yes. Your team were with us about a month and a half ago when we went on a tour of the food logistics hub in K2 Jiri. If you have it on your tape, you can actually show it to your audience. It will be the largest food logistics hub in Sub-Saharan Africa, and we've gone far. We should be opening the first phase of it by the middle of this year. By May, June, we shall have it up and running. This hub is meant to increase, the food sufficiency and food security in Lagos. We ourselves are not a food producing, but we're food consuming. Right. So we intend to have an off-take agreement with all of the states that are producing and be able to have large, warehouses where both dry, cold food chains can be stored. Outside of that, we're also building what we call the middle level market. You've seen one, come up in Mushi. We're actually going to be commissioning two more, within the first quarter. There's one that will be completed in Ajah, another one in Agege. We're doing another one in Ikorodu. So these food hubs takes, the produce from the main logistics hub, right? And we probably just dimensioned, the supply chain, for that. So we're working with some big food producing states: Niger, Kwara, Nasarawa, Kogi, and that we also
what about Kebbi, the lake?
Yeah. So I was going to say that that we also have
lake
rice
rice
mill
at the time.
So part of the thing we've done with the lake rice, with the rice mill, is also we've also done importation of the brown rice. which is like another component after, you know, paddy. Paddy became unavailable towards the end of last year. So we actually also import, you know, brown rice, which, you know, that started coming in now. You could see that there was some stability or even drop in the price of rice during the yellow tide season. We see that, you know, consistency in terms of adequacy and affordability happening, you know, in the weeks and months ahead. So the rice mill will work. The food logistics hub will be commissioned before the middle of this year, which will take in a whole lot of, you know, food in large number in terms of security, in terms of availability, and from the middle level market, you get, you know, pulled down. So one of the things that you see, you reduce all of the issues of middle market. If you have a tuber of yam in Benue for 400 naira, there's no need selling it in Lagos for 2,000. At best, it gets here at 500, at 550. That's the kind of transformative food security that we're planning. And we're doing it because the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food System, they are aware of what we're doing. So we're going to be working with them, you know, in collaboration.
Absolutely.
You know, so that for us is ongoing. Regarding the local government, I have good news for you. You know, we will be conducting our own local government elections later this year. Local government autonomy, Lagos has been a full compliance in autonomy. Not have I touched, you know, any of my local government funds since I became governor from day one. You know, we have a means in which we let them breathe. They are working, they are doing great things in their individual local government, and it's also time.
I'm sure a lot of persons will want to understand what you mean by how you let them breathe.
Oh yeah, I mean, we understand.
Not tampering with their phone.